Ladies and gentlemen, the Oklahoma City Thunder are moving on to the Western Conference Finals. After beating the Denver Nuggets in Game 7, 125-93. My goodness, what a series. What a series. First off, I want to always just shout out the loser here real quick. The Denver Nuggets had a season that overachieved by many accounts. I'm going to be honest. When I saw what this team was going to look like going into the season, I genuinely thought, after years of being, one of the top teams in the Western Conference, I thought this was the year we were going to see a noticeable dip in the Denver Nuggets. And to be fair, I still don't think that's the worst take in the world, but I definitely had them dropping way more than how much they dropped this season. Because I think, this season they still ended up being the 4th seed. And I understand the West is so close, we're looking at a 2-game difference between the 3 seed and really the 8 seed here. But I really thought the Nuggets were going to drop like crazy this year after the pieces that they lost last year. And them not only, ending with a 50-win season and a 4th seed, and also them pushing the 68-win Oklahoma City Thunder to the brink of elimination. I think that is a season to really hold your head up on. Moving forward, though, there's a couple of questions that they do really have to ask. But in terms of just this season, I think they played just fine. Also, with the whole coaching situation, that was kind of crazy towards the tail end of the season. But I want to shout out the Denver Nuggets here. I want to shout out Jokic. I really want to shout out Aaron Gordon more than anyone on the Denver Nuggets, because it's rare to see players take leaps late into their careers. And I hope he continues this moving forward, and I hope that injury that he had this game today isn't something that's going to be insanely lingering and affect him moving forward. But by many accounts, Aaron Gordon had, in terms of improving his skill set, a really impressive year for me. Specifically improving in his shot creation and his 3-ball. Like, did not see this from Aaron Gordon. So shout out to Aaron Gordon. I really want to shout him out here real quick. However, today is about the Oklahoma City Thunder. Today is about the Oklahoma City Thunder. Today is what the Oklahoma City Thunder are about. And it's about that fucking defense. Holding the Denver Nuggets to 93 points and scoring 125 themselves. My God, Caruso looked amazing out there. Got out in transition like crazy. That's what the Oklahoma City like to do. I don't even think they really have like a defensive hole. Like we're looking at an 8-man rotation here with legitimate legitimate defenders from 1 through 8. Like, even if you look at the Celtics, one of the best defenses in the league, even the Cleveland Cavaliers, because they had a really good defense this year. Like, you can point to guys like Darius Garland and Peyton Pritchard as people you can pick on the offensive end. But the Oklahoma City Thunder, who's their worst defender here? Aaron Wiggins? Their worst SGA. If SGA is your worst defender, your roster construction is amazing. You know what I'm saying? SGA, speaking of SGA, after a pretty questionable series to start off, both from him and Jokic, because if you look at it right here, the first couple games of the series didn't look too hot for SGA. Even had a video on him. These last 3 games really bounced back. 31 points on 52% right here. 32 points on 70%. I'm going to round up 70%. And today had another great game of 35 points in a Game 7 on 12 of 19 shooting. SGA balled the fuck out today. Balled the fuck out. To me, the player of the game, though, is J-Dub. To me, the player of the game is J-Dub. 24.7 assists and 5 rebounds, shot 10 to 17. After a series where he was, I'm going to be honest, playing like dog shit outside of one game, for him to show up like this big time in a Game 7, the Oklahoma City Thunder needed it. Needed it. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm going to be honest, I think J-Dub is the X factor of this team moving forward. I think they go as deep as J-Dub wants them. And I know that's such a hot take, but listen, I think SGA is consistent enough to count on. Well, in these playoffs, maybe not, but SGA more often than not is gonna show up. J-Dub having the inconsistent games that he's been having the shitter games that he's been having, if he doesn't show up, that second playmaker next to SGA just looks really, really questionable if SGA isn't showing up, because Chet just isn't there yet, and there's questions on if he'll ever get there. But he low-key has potential, but ultimately right now, and they have a championship chance to win a championship right now, Chet is not there. Outside of Chet, you're looking at who? Cason Wallace, Alex Caruso, Lou Dort, iHeart, to be your secondary playmaker, shot creator. Again, if J-Dub is not there, I think J-Dub being as shitty as he was this series was a really, really big part as to why this went to 7. And I think if J-Dub just had an average series, this probably would have ended in 5 or 6. That may sound crazy, but yeah, that's how important I think J-Dub is. But moving forward, I think J-Dub is the X factor of this team, and games like this and games where they lost have honestly proven that when it comes to the Oklahoma City Thunder. But as of right now, let's go ahead and just look at the playoff bracket standings, what they're looking like right now. So, the conference finals start Tuesday. On the West, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Minnesota Timberwolves. And on the East, we got the Pacers versus the Knicks. I don't want to shoot my load here and fully give out predictions, but all I'll say is, one, we're getting a new champion this year. That is just a fact. We are getting a new champion this year, whether that's SGA's first ring, that's Ant's first ring, that's Hallie's first ring, or that's Jalen Brunson's first ring. Someone is going to get their first ring this season. And even outside of that, I think the only players with rings out of all these 4 teams are like real bench. Like, essentially, the only person on the Knicks that has a ring is like PJ Tucker. Siakam does have a ring, so he's probably the best player with a ring left in the playoffs. But the Timberwolves have like Dante DiVincenzo, and the Thunder have Alex Caruso. Not the worst players in the world, but we're gonna get a lot of really, really good players get their first ring in the next coming weeks, and I am very, very excited. I think we saw last year that last year's conference finals was a showing of the new age of NBA basketball, of, you know, a new era of the NBA with the Celtics and the Pacers making it to the conference finals. And then out in the West, we had, what was it? The Timberwolves and the Mavericks making it to the Western Conference Finals. Like, last year was an opportunity for one player who didn't get a ring before to get a ring, and that ended up being Jason Tatum. Yes, sir. And this year looks like it's another opportunity to do the exact same thing. I think this is the beauty about the parity era, right? This is the beauty about the parity era. I know there's been conversations about, is the parity era really good for the NBA from a ratings perspective? You know, the birds can have those conversations, right? And honestly, we can still have those conversations. But as NBA super fans, as real deal NBA enjoyers, you cannot help but enjoy all the basketball that we've seen. You know what I'm saying? If anything, I was kind of worried going into these playoffs of how predictable things were going to look, because going into these playoffs, it really did look like the Thunder, the Celtics, and the Cavs were just head and shoulders above everyone else. And this was just going to end up being Cavs, Celtics in the East, Thunder, and whoever comes out of this bracket in the West. And that's what the playoffs were ultimately going to be, right? But I think going into these playoffs, the conference finals, the only The only team that I feel like isn't really surprising anyone is the Oklahoma City Thunder. That's it. We really got to go back like a month ago. I remember those conversations about the Lakers wanting the Timberwolves in the first round. So most people didn't even have the Timberwolves making it out of the first round. You know what I'm saying? We all know the conversations about the Knicks going into that Celtics series. Not a lot of people had the Knicks winning that series. You know what I'm saying? The Pacers, right? The Pacers. Now, did the Pacers, benefit off of the Cavaliers having injuries? Absolutely. But again, not a lot of people had the Pacers making it to the conference finals this year. So I am definitely excited. I love the storylines going into these conference finals as well. SGA versus Ant. That's some, face of the league convos right there. Out in the East, a renewed old rivalry in the Pacers versus the Knicks. The Knicks in general just going crazy. They faced last year, so there's a little bit of, bad blood continuity of conversations over there. I am very, very excited for these conference finals. Would have loved to see my Celtics involved in all this mess, but hey, I'm still an NBA enjoyer, and there are a lot of things to look forward to in these conference finals. Outside of that, I do just want to shout out Nikola Jokic here because I was pretty hard on him a couple videos ago. A lot of people had a problem with the video that I made about Jokic. And I will say this, I am still going to maintain the fact that now that Jokic's playoff run is officially done, I still feel like my sentiment of the best in the world conversation being the most open since, 2020, I don't know. 2020. This may be the most open the conversation has been. Like, I really think there's a couple names. Not a couple, but like, I don't know who is better for me, just me personally. Who is better between Giannis, Jokic, and SGA now? I don't know. And that doesn't necessarily have to do with Jokic necessarily getting worse or anything. I just think Giannis has made a playmaking leap this season, a mid-range leap this season that we have been waiting for years. And SGA has also taken it up a notch, combined with his winning, combined with his defense in comparison to Jokic. Like, I think it's just a matter of other players getting better in the conversation. I don't want to discredit Jokic because Jokic also had an amazing season. But I think for the last 2 years, it's been pretty consensus to me that Jokic has been the best in the world. I haven't really thought about anyone else in that discussion, even when players like Luka were involved. And shout out to Luka. Luka may be in that conversation next year, barring health. Hopefully he is in that conversation, having another healthy season. Hopefully Embiid gets back in that conversation, right? But yeah, I just want to shout out Jokic here. But it really does feel like even though Jokic, Giannis, and Embiid are still players that are just entering their 30s or in their early 30s, it seems like the NBA has kind of accelerated. And not necessarily the NBA, but just the franchises of these teams have kind of accelerated which teams really represent the NBA now. Like, typically the teams that really represent the NBA come from the teams that are being led by the 28 to 32-year-olds, if you look back historically. But right now, the teams that are killing it, they are being led by, what are we really talking about here? The 23 to 27, 26-year-old group? And I think that's very interesting to call out. I don't even know of a 2-year stretch in NBA history where you can say that. Where, like, the teams that are consistently making the conference finals and deep playoff runs are being led by the teams being led by 22 to 27-year-olds. I'm literally thinking about it right now. Maybe 2015 when the Warriors started coming about. But even then, the Warriors may have just been like a outlier in that situation, as they are with a lot of conversations. Because even that era was what, LeBron, KD, Russ. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it. But I'm just excited to see the young guys really come into the fold and start building their legacies, because I think the NBA definitely is feeling the pressure of needing to move on from the Curry, KD, and LeBron era. Low-key feeling the pressure even more of moving on from the Giannis, Jokic, Embiid era already. Because of the injury problems with those teams, how not marketable those crop of superstars are. And I'm glad, the NBA is starting to figure out the answers to their questions that they've been asking for. I think we're definitely seeing the new crop, the new faces of the NBA right in front of our eyes. And I think this is just a bigger media conversation, to be honest with you. But I don't think there will be a MJ, Kobe, LeBron-esque figure in this next upcoming era, for better or for worse. I do think this is going to be an era of multiple faces of the league. However, not one face will be as big as a LeBron figure, as a Kobe figure. And I think that'll ultimately be good for the league. Maybe not for peak ratings, but for floor ratings, I think that'll be good as well. But regardless, let me know what y'all think about all of this mess in the comment section down below. Shout out to the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I'm out of here, man. Peace.